My buddy Nick from Petrov the Hero texted me this morning a conversation that he was having with a friend of ours. And he was saying that it was like they were talking about a particular song, covering a song. And they were like, it's bad, but it's not Geese. And then I was laying in bed reading this exchange, about this exchange. And then I was like, I bet you that the lighting in my music room is perfect to do this video. It's still on that tipping point of morning. So I was like, I'm going to do it. So I ran in here, I grabbed the phone, and this is, even though it's started slow, this is going to be a really quick video. I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. This is 5 indie rock charlatans that, in a way, pave the way for Geese. Okay? I don't have a particular order, though I know who's number 1. You know I'm going to put at number 5 is Fleet Foxes. There's just nothing to that band. Okay. So, number 4 is also an artist that really is, there's no substance to him as well. Kurt Weill. Also, Kurt Weill is the name I used years before Kurt Weill existed in a band called Indispensable Monsters. But we made like kind of weird abstract music. So 5, Fleet Foxes. Almost said Band of Horses. They didn't make the list. Fleet Foxes. Kurt Weill. Kurt Weill's deal also, by the way, is really interesting because he basically just heard the 3 songs that Nirvana did with the Meat Puppets on the Unplugged album. And he's like, I could make a career out of this. And then someone at some point just introduced him to some Neil Young and he was set. So there, Kurt Weill is number 4. Number 3, now I'm trying to make sure I can fill this all in. Number 3 is Ty Segall. Ty Segall he's kind of an important juncture point in the list because he's the point where fashion comes into the mix, where it's important that what you're doing musically is something that's very fashionable. Out here, Ty Segall, when I first heard of him, he was mentioned in relation to like sort of garage artists. And he, what's a good way of putting it? My brain's trying to do 2 things at once because I'm trying to think of who's next. The thing that he would be kind of sort of associated with would be like American Apparel. American Apparel had these like kind of sort of transgressive, sort of exciting, sexualized kinds of ads with women, but there was also this kind of trashy, urban kind of vibe. It's a very millennial kind of vibe. And Ty Segall is a guy who puts out lots of music, makes some of it weird in a way that like maybe Ariel Pink would, but Ariel Pink's actually in a lot of ways really talented. I have like a few Ariel Pink albums. I've seen him live. He's actually really good. Ariel Pink can actually really write some good songs. But Ty Segall, I've never heard like a good song by him. You know, he's just very mediocre, but I think he's promoted because he's just a very fashionable dude to like. Number 2, I'm glad I remembered. Number 2 is important because they're moving from where Ty Segall is just a fashionable thing, where it's just really cool to like, to a thing where you have actual critics in England or probably New York, maybe here or whatever, if they have the wherewithal. It's the war on drugs. The war on drugs is really remarkable because they're really acclaimed, but like you can sit at a coffee shop and hear a song that goes on for like 4, 5, 6 minutes and it never goes anywhere. And you're like, what's going on? Like, is this a song? Like, what is this? It's a song, there's music or whatever, but there's nothing compelling about it. There's nothing that really makes it stand out. Well, it's the war on drugs. I also, as a side note, I saw Sun Kill Moon, Mark Kozelik's band, live around the time that there was the little it's excitement about the fact that he did a song called "The War on Drugs Can Suck My Dick," and he people were like yelling for him to like play that song. He's like, I'm not gonna play that song, and then he starts playing the song, and as he's playing it, he's like, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, and then he played the whole thing. It's like 6 minutes or whatever, but it was hilarious. And at the end of the song, he kind of reconciles himself to saying that he can be just as sort of boring and meandering as the war on drugs can be, which at that point in his career, and he probably still in that point of his career where he's doing those talking songs, he is kind of boring and meandering. But you know, that classic Red House Painter, Sun Kill Moon stuff is so high quality that it's not to be dismissed at all. Number one, this is the band that whether critical acclaim or fashion or whatever, it's all in the past, because this band came in. They came in at a pivotal point in the aughts, and they said, they sort of said these things are going to be really important: critical acclaim, fashionability, coolness, whatever, over any sort of musical substance or talent. And also, most importantly, within indie rock, it's just going to be the instrumentation, not the song. This is the band that really said it's the instrumental presentation, not the song itself at all. And even the emotion, because they would get really emotional. And they've fallen out of grace lately. But this is the band that really started this. They're the Christopher Columbus of indie rock charlatans, and it's Arcade Fire. They came in and they said it's okay to make like sub mediocre pop music, and it's not pop music, that's derisive to pop music. It's okay to make sub mediocre, heavily orchestrated indie rock, indie music, whatever. And just as long as you have like a person playing a violin, this and that, and you have this presentation with all these instruments, and it's like this big spectacle, a big musical spectacle that people that work in coffee shops are going to be really enamored with you. People that work in coffee shops and record stores, the people in record stores just don't know any better, because a lot of the people at the record stores would call it Arcade Fire. But Arcade Fire, they walked on the shore and planted the flag, right? So I'll do another video at some point, because me and Nick and I, last night we recorded a little podcast that we're starting, and we're gonna start releasing that. It's gonna be audio. We're gonna kind of talk about 90s stuff, but we talk about Geese a little bit, because Geese is like a good band. They're a good band to sort of show like what's wrong with like music, right? So I'll talk about Geese at some point, but these 5 artists, bands, whatever, which I really quickly just talked about, and I hope people pay attention to this video and come to my channel and talk shit in the comments, because I really want to hear what people have to say. Those five artists and bands, they set the stage for something like Geese. Yes, Geese is not worthwhile, right? It's not good. You like it because it's a flavor of the month kind of thing. It's an Emperor's New Clothes thing, right? But the 5 bands I listed, Fleet Foxes, Kurt Vile, Ty Segall, War on Drugs, and Arcade Fire. And Arcade Fire is passé now, because you know you live by the trend, you die by the trend, right? The video is under 10 minutes. I did it. Okay, so like, subscribe, listen to the Happy Casualties, and I'll talk to you later.